Thank you very much, and good morning.
Good morning.
Before I begin, I'd like to ask your forgiveness if what I talk about is in any way offensive or disrespectful to you. It's a special time we live in. And what this has brought to us, an ability to be tolerant. Our tolerance has increased. And we're tolerant of so many things now because we have the awareness and understanding to do so. We're not just tolerant with race, with color, with class, with men versus women, even sexuality. It's helped us so much in our society. But when it comes to religion, it's still somewhat taboo. We still aren't that tolerant. We don't really have the understanding that we perhaps could. You know, we know a lot about our religions. The religion that we each have that's close to ourselves, to our families, to our colleagues, we know what that religion is. We've lived with it. But other religions we don't know much about. In fact, the religion that we do have, most of us, in fact, think that it is a true religion and the only right path. You know, there's a quote that's on the bookmark for the book, and the bookmark's in front of you. I'll read the quote. An enemy is one whose story we have not heard. It's a special quote. It was written by a lady in California. She was a peace activist in the 70s and 80s. I've shared this quote with several people, and actually at a middle school about a month or so ago. And in the innocence of youth, they immediately said, oh yeah, we understand what that is. That's if there's a new kid at our school or we don't really know much about them, we don't necessarily like them at first. But when we get to know more about them, then they become our friend. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to read a bit of scripture. Not because I want to be religious, not because I want to preach to you, but more because of interest, and I think it might arouse some curiosity, or at least raise your brow. Gabriel said, Mary, God has chosen you above and made you pure. He has truly chosen you above all women. The angel said, Mary, God gives you news of a word from him, whose name will be the Messiah, Jesus, Son of Mary, who will be held in honor in this world and the next, who will be one of those near to God. He will speak to people in his infancy and in his adulthood. Mary said, my Lord, how can I have a son when no man has touched me? The angel said, this is how God creates what he will. When he has ordained something, he only says be, and it is. We're all familiar with that story and that bit of scripture. What might be surprising to you is that this book is not the Bible. This book's the Quran. This book is the Muslim holy book of scripture. That's right. Muslims believe that Jesus was born the Messiah to the Virgin Mary as made by God. Muslims, in fact, believe in Adam and Eve, in Noah, in Abraham, in Jacob, that Moses freed the Hebrews out of Egypt in the Exodus and brought them to Israel. Muslims believe in all the prophets of the Old Testament. King David and Goliath, King Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel. They believe in Jesus. They believe in John the Baptist. Now, this probably comes as a surprise to you. It comes as a surprise to many when I explain that to them. How can this be? We live in a world where we don't have the knowledge of other religions. this is a gap. And in this gap, we have conflict. There's such conflict that we see, and as the conflict persists, it makes peace very elusive. It is hard to attain peace when we don't understand our enemy, who in fact may be our friend. We see this in the media all the time. You don't need me to tell you stories of how this religious gap creates conflict, not just in the Middle East, but around the world. We can blame the media for this, but the media is not responsible. The media is a business, like many of you have businesses. And their responsibility is to their shareholders. Their responsibility is to maximize sales, maximize profit, increase their share price. That means to the media that what is important to them is selling advertising, which means more viewers. The more viewers means they need to sell stories that attract. And that can lead to sensationalism. They're not responsible to you to make sure that you have the right information. They're responsible to themselves, and rightly so. They're a business. So where does the responsibility lie? Where does the responsibility lie for this information gap? Well, I say to you this morning that the responsibility is yours. It is yours, each of yours, to take the time to find out for yourselves what religion is to other peoples. And it's so easy now. I mentioned to you that this can be done with a click of a button. Wikipedia, Google it. Look to see what Islam is for yourself. What you're going to find is that it's so much more similar to Christianity than what so many of us believe. In fact, it's sad because so many people actually look at Islam as something that is so different that we feel threatened by it. We're concerned that it's going to overwhelm us. In fact, just the word Allah sometimes scares us. When in fact, in reality, Allah is just the translation of our God in Arabic. If you're a Christian and you're a Coptic Christian in Egypt, you actually pray to Allah. Allah is our God. It's the same God. You know, this is important now more than ever. What we need to do, what we all need to do is celebrate what unites us. Find out what it is that makes us similar. And celebrate that amongst ourselves. Pass that word along rather than brood upon what differentiates us. And I ask you, I beg of you, when you go home, on your phone, on your laptop, on your tablet, just take the time just to Google Islam. Find out for yourself what it is. It'll take you 5 or 10 minutes, and I know you'll be pleasantly surprised. Now is the time for us to do this. Now is the time for us to take the responsibility ourselves and find out what it is that different religions, and specifically Islam, are. If not for ourselves, then definitely for our sons and our daughters, because they are us tomorrow. Their future tomorrow is our responsibility today. And we could provide them with a pathway to peace through our knowledge and our example.